Hey, my name is Amy Isom, and this is my first blog as a global ambassador at BYU. So over the past couple weeks, I have been hearing a lot about the one-child policy from different people, from neighbors through reading newspaper articles. And so I just wanted to share with you some of my thoughts on it and see if you had any opinions on the matter. So because of the one-child policy, there have been many negative side effects that have taken place. So I'm going to talk about three of them. The first is the negative effect on children's health and dental care. The second one is how it has affected adoption in China. And the third is how it will affect future generations. So to give you a little background, the one-child policy was instigated in 1979, and it was made in order to address overpopulation in China. And it forbid families, especially in urban areas, from having more than one child. This policy is enforced through fines that are imposed based on families' income and other factors. And since its instigation, 400 million births have been prevented. That's a lot. So first, how has the one-child policy affected the health of kids in China? It all starts with how parents view their children and how they want to give them everything. These children have been given the nickname Little Emperor because their parents give them anything they ask for. So because of this has led to a lot of obesity in the cities. And it has also led to a decline in dental hygiene because parents don't want to hurt their children. And so they don't take them to the dentist because their kids complain and things like that. So I know one of my neighbors from home, she told me about some time that she spent in China. She's a dentist and went there to volunteer. And she said how disheartening it was to see kids with such bad teeth. And so while she was there, she focused on educating their parents about dental hygiene and telling them that they need to take their kids to the dentist, even though it may cause them some pain. The next effect that I want to touch on is adoption in China. So the tradition in China is that sons stay with their families as they get older. They live next to their parents, help them with old age, whereas daughters, they go and live with their husband's family when they get married. So because of this, parents want to have sons instead of daughters. Because parents want to have boys instead of girls, this has led to a large imbalance among girls and boys in the younger generations in China. Parents aren't allowed to get ultrasounds, and so because so many moms were aborting their baby girls, but this has led to moms leaving their little girls on the side of the road or in parks for other people to find because they want to have a son, and if their first baby's a girl, they'll leave them in hopes to have a son later on down the road. Most of the girls end up in adoption agencies, and most of those girls do get adopted, but there still are some who stay in the adoption agencies until they're old enough to make it on their own. I recently read an article in the New York Times about this, and it's titled "For Adoptive Parents, Questions Without Answers." And the article says, on August 5th, this newspaper published a front-page article from China that contained chilling news for many adoptive parents. Government officials in Hunan province in southern China have seized babies from their parents and sold them into what the article called a lucrative black market in children. This led parents in the United States to ask themselves, well, what if my child was forcibly taken from her parents' home? It's sad enough to think of girls being left on the side of the road, but it's another thing to think of little girls around 3 years old being taken from their parents' home. It's almost unbearable to think about. Okay, so the last effect I want to talk about is how the one-child policy will affect China in future years. Because the population is increasingly becoming dominated by males, this could lead in breakout in war. Another issue is how will men find wives? How will more kids be born if there aren't enough women? And when men can't get married, what will they do? So in conclusion, when this policy was introduced into China, I'm sure the Chinese government didn't foresee all the detrimental effects. But don't you think they should have thought of them? In doing some research, I found that in March 2011, the Chinese government actually thought of reviewing the policy and changing it to where parents could have 2 children. So the question is, do you think this will help solve the problem? And I know there isn't one solution, but what do you think can be done? Thanks.